Hello, Eric. This is John. I'm a longtime subscriber of your Overpass channel on YouTube for about a year now or so. Watched most of your, if not all of your videos, and kind of a fan. A little bit of backstory. I'm your typical entrepreneur, researcher, programmer, writer, or whatever you see all the time. I'm sure you're familiar with the type. And as it happens, I was working on a typing tutor app for my kids to learn touch typing. And as I was searching the various sources for ideas, came across your app on App Store called Secret Agent Typing. And fascinated. Wow, it's one of Overpass's apps. So I loaded it up, tried it out, and it's an okay app, but it's got some challenges to it, and it's really none of my business. I mean, it's your app, not mine. But I was thinking, you know what, it would be a fun project. Let me do a teardown of your app and some suggestions for it. And hopefully you find that helpful. If not, just ignore this video. In fact, if you're not comfortable with what I'm about to do, you can tell me to take down this video. I'll do it in a heartbeat if you ask. But let's see how this goes. Of course, the first thing I did was try out your game for a little while. But you know what? One person's opinion is never good enough. It's always good to play test games. That's my personal opinion, of course. And so I went and contacted my friend Brad, who works with me at the same office at my main entrepreneurial job. And he helped me out by trying the game out. But what I did in his case is I actually filmed him using it, both to get feedback as well as to provide you some rough material to see how a typical user might use the thing. In fact, let's run through a few highlights.
So I'll go ahead and launch it. Should I read the instructions?
It's up to you.
Kind of intense with the volume. And I'm bored. Let's go. I'll start with one letter. But that doesn't scroll. Alright, I guess I need my keyboard back. Score of 0. Now, come on, I nailed that.
Okay, I found this out in the user comments. I'll give you a clue. You have to press the space bar.
Like, oh, wow, okay. All right, next level. Let's up it here. Get hard. Level 2 seemed a lot like level 1. Levels are too long. I'm getting bored between.
You want to go to...
let me see if I can back. Bubble bath typing. What is bubble bath typing?
I think it's this app. I don't know.
It must be based on some earlier app. That looks like a typo. No, I don't want to exit that, but I do want to get back to the menu. So I guess I can't. I gotta quit. Oh, it doesn't quit the app. It just quits the level. Let's try 5-letter. I'm a pretty good typist, so. Whoa. Isn't that cool? Okay, keyboard. Hello. Alright, I'm not a very good typist. Let's try that again. Oh, I think I'm beginning to figure it out. So it's activating on the first letter typed and then firing when I say I'm done. So it's like if there were two words that started with the same letter, I can pick which one I'm working on. Still seems like it could just match.
Easy to read. Swift works, huh?
It seems to.
Unless it spell corrects.
It spell corrects. Keyboard should stay put. Unless I want to switch it. Let's keep switching me back.
I think it depends on the keyboard.
Yeah. I should, well, keyboard doesn't, I don't know if this isn't the SwiftKey keyboard. Is this taking the
it's the Google keyboard.
It's the Google keyboard?
Yeah.
So if I can't set it to my preference?
That's a good question.
I should be able to, how the hell do I do that? Now I don't even know what that character, why can't the characters be bigger? I mean, you got all this space in here, and I know I'm old, but okay, I don't know. How far you want me to go with this thing?
That's good.
I've lost my my interest. I don't think that would hold the attention of my... it's not clear what any of the... All the instructions everywhere seem to be confusing. I mean, ambiguous, you know. In some places it was home, and in some places it was back. Yeah, pretty rough.
Yeah. Okay.
And the gameplay isn't very well... Like, the levels are too long and too repetitive. There's just not anything happening. And even the items that are presented don't seem to have anything to do with the theme. I mean, it's a spy game. You could work in elements of cryptography and, you know, put up letters, and then if you typed it correctly, decode them. Or just put up words that have something to do with the theme. Gun, spy. Or it presents a clue, and you've got to put in the correct... The correct, not the word it's showing, but the correct corresponding word, you know, like from a code book or something like that. But you know, it just seems to be little bitty red text in a big white circle.
All right, I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, now for some of my own direct suggestions and observations about the app. One of the questions that comes up in my mind is that what's your target audience for this app? Is it adults who are wanting to learn how to type? Is it kids wanting to learn how to type? Is it people who already know how to type? They're just trying to learn their Android keyboard or iOS keyboard a little bit better. I don't know, and it wasn't self-evident in the app. The fact that it has a secret agent theme kind of implies it's for kids, but for kids it's got a lot of verbose instructions that are not necessarily pulling you into the game like you'd want to with a kid. And what age of kid are you shooting for? Is this a high schooler or a middle school or late elementary? Now, clearly, the person needs to know how to read already, so you don't have to deal with that young of an age. But what is the target audience? For the rest of my comments, I'm going to be assuming that we're shooting for a kid between ages, say, 7 and 11. I'm just making stuff up. As being your target audience, and they're trying to learn not necessarily how to touch type, because it's on a mobile phone that you're playing this, or on a mobile tablet, so you don't have a proper keyboard, but you're trying to learn where the letters are. So we'll go with that. And so the rest of my commentary is going to be based on that. And of course, if my audience is wrong, take all that into account. My comments are not going to be in any particular order, and I'm going to throw some screens off to my side here. If you're trying to shoot for teaching where keys on the keyboard are, I don't know that you really need to concentrate on special characters or exotic characters, or even on numbers. Really, teaching someone to know where the letters are on the keyboard is a huge thing. And if you limit it to that, then one of the things you can do is no longer rely on the device's keyboard. You can, in fact, put your own keyboard up on the screen. This has a few benefits. One of them is that you will shrink the amount of space you're using on the screen for your keyboard. You can make larger keys that only have the QWERTY keyboard. In the early stages of the game where you don't have to worry about capitalization, there is no shift key. You don't put it on this board. You just have just the letters on the board. The other benefit is you can actually provide on-keyboard feedback that you can't right now. Let's say, for example, you do want to continue the use of the space bar. Well, what you could have done in this is rather than simply put into the instructions, please press the space bar after you hit the letters, you could actually make it more self-evident that when you type the right keys and it's matching up, the keyboard could light up in green on the keyboard. And then when you type in all the letters you need to match the word, it can highlight the space bar. So you don't have to tell them what to do. It becomes more self-evident of what to do because you actually see it on the screen. With any type of game, you're dealing with conditioning. You know, what kind of rewards does a person get at the end of each level? I think there's a way you can add more rewards to the game. One of them being is, I think, having unlockables. Essentially make there be a boss battle where there's a slightly harder word that shows up on the screen at the very end, and it's in a different color, and that particular word is how you unlock the next level, or something along those lines. You're adding a little bit more of a pizzazz to the level as you're playing it. In fact, that word could be part of a narrative. In fact, let me talk about that. I think one of the best things you can do here is get rid of the levels. I mean, you're not getting rid of the levels. Just don't show them. Don't put them in the menu. Just make it so that you start off with Act 1, and your narrative starts with Secret Agent X. He's fighting bad guy organization Y. And I don't know. Essentially write a narrative. And so that you're playing a particular character. And then you're actually following that character in the narrative. It could be small bits of text that you put up on the screen that drive you into the next level. And then at the very end of the level, there is a word that is your boss word as it comes up the screen. And typing that one in takes you to the next level and your next part of the narrative. You get to read a story as well as play a game. So now you have more interaction. You have more of a reward feedback loop occurring. So every time you win the next level, you get further into the story. And the better the story, the better the game is. And you can make levels also a little bit harder each time by increasing the number of letters. So let's say you're starting off with single letter clues. Maybe you start with a home row. You know, ASDF and was it JKL semicolon? We'll ignore the semicolon right now. Start off with just those letters so that the game's actually easier because you're not searching the whole keyboard. In fact, you can give them a clue. In fact, you could highlight that row. Again, if you have control of the keyboard, and gray out all the other letters. They're still there, but you're not concentrating on them. You're just choosing from the home row at the beginning. And as the different things come up, you're just having to concentrate on that middle row, learning where all the characters are. And then when you go to the next level, it adds more characters and then more characters. And so there's a visual feel for, yeah, this is harder and tougher, but I know why it's harder and tougher rather than saying make it go faster. Although you can do that too. I think there needs to be a clear progression going on. Also, it's a form of reward. I'm getting better at this. That is the thing. That's also one of the rewards you can have coming back from the game. My last suggestion is kind of a big picture suggestion. Get rid of almost all of the menus. Pull the user that loads the game right into the game. So you start the app, a narrative begins, a picture, some text. they roll into the first play level right off the bat. Even if they're a good keyboardist, it starts right off the bat. Doop, 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 win the level, and it takes them into the next narrative. And at the top, there's a place where they type in the boss code that they won just in the last game. Click. And then if they want to pause, there is a menu or some kind of home button or something like that somewhere where, if I want to stop for today or something like that. And then later on they come in, it'll remember their place. But if they ever want to go to skip ahead or something like that, or go back and replay a level, you take them to the main screen, but instead of having levels like how many characters are in each level, that kind of stuff, that's too technical. I mean, you're appealing to kids. You want them part of the story, so it's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Then you pop into Act 1, and it's Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3, and it's the narrative defines the levels, not what you're doing in there. Hopefully this was helpful. I don't know, maybe not. I know when I'm doing development, I generally find raw, crude feedback actually really useful. People are way too polite, especially friends and family. So think of this as raw, crude feedback from a stranger. Hopefully it's not going to piss you off or anything. Any rate, thanks for watching. You have a good day.